Ryan Fan wakes up in his car on a college campus. He returns to his dorm, navigating through a few unpleasant events, and finds Carter and Tree. Ryan moves to his university's quantum mechanics lab on being called by Samar and Dre, his fellow students, who had been working on an experimental device called Sissimus Quantum Cooling Reactor, which had malfunctioned the previous night, causing an unexpected surge of energy. As Ryan tries to figure out the reason for the malfunction, he's interrupted by a notification sent by an unknown number, specifically his picture from a second ago. As he goes around to check who it could be, Ryan is again stalked and ultimately killed by a baby-faced, mask-wearing killer, only to wake up back in his car, reliving the same day again. After realizing that he's been caught in a time loop, Ryan confides in Carter and Tree. Having experienced the same, Tree chooses to help. He briefs them on how Sissy had malfunctioned. Listening to this, Tree realizes that the incident had happened on May 18th, the same day Tree had relived 11 times before and now was out of the loop. On trying, they figure out that Ryan's experiment has caused the loop. Ryan is now in a cafe along with Carter, Tree, Samar, and Dre, discussing how can he save himself from the baby-face killer, when Carter suggests that they should be somewhere safe, somewhere that's crowded. He takes the group to a basketball game, where coincidentally, the mascot is baby-faced, the same as the killer. While watching the game, the group hears a siren go off, indicating an emergency, urging people to leave the building, eventually causing havoc among the people. Ryan finds himself surrounded by baby faces and is scared. He stops for a second as his friends move ahead in the chaos, leaving him alone in a situation of panic. Ryan finds the baby-faced killer walking in his direction, identifying him by his knife. He runs and runs as the killer follows him. In the end, when Ryan is not able to find a way out anymore, he feels death coming at him again. But in due time, Tree smashes a vase on the killer's head, making him faint. Carter, curious to see who the baby-faced killer is, urges Ryan to remove the killer's mask, and so he does. As the mask is removed, Ryan, Carter, and Tree are all in a state of shock. The killer happens to be Ryan himself, but from an alternate reality. They bring him to the lab and wait for him to gain consciousness. On waking up, he asks Carter and Tree to kill Ryan, stating that he needs to die for the world to survive. Ryan panics, listening to the fake Ryan, and starts Sissy, and the room bursts into chaos. Eventually, Sissy bursts, causing Tree to faint. Tree wakes up in Carter's dorm room, reliving the loop she had previously lived on her birthday. She's confused and distressed, as the events are similar, but not entirely the same as before. Her boyfriend, Carter, is her roommate's boyfriend in this reality, while Ryan explains to her the multiverse theory. But Tree refuses to go back, as she has gotten back her mother, who's dead in her actual universe. Tree learns that the criminal who had killed her along with Lori in the previous loop is hospitalized, knowing that he had escaped from the same place. In the previous loop, she goes there to warn the staff, but it's too late as the baby-faced killer finds her. She thinks it's her roommate, Lori, so she runs towards the exit. At the right time, the lift opens and Tree's roommate Lori pulls her in, saving her life. However, the killer cuts the power off and the lift stops. Lori manages to open the lift doors, and they get out on a floor that's still under construction. Lori leads the way towards the emergency exit and then stops in between. Tree inquires whether she has seen or heard something as Lori turns around and faces Tree. Tree sees that she's been stabbed in the stomach. She pukes blood and dies. From behind, the baby-faced killer approaches Tree, and she runs for her life. While running, she finds her way to the terrace, almost escaping the killer, but falls off of the terrace and dies, again waking up in the same loop, the same day, in the same dimension. Tree explains to Ryan how his experiment has caused her time loop. Carter suggests she memorize their actions, so she can continue the experiment after each death. Tree learns everything, kills herself, and wakes up again, repeating this process several times. Eventually, Tree wakes up in the hospital, where Carter is by her side. After he leaves, she warns Professor Gregory Butler about Lori's murder and asks him to keep Lori safe. However, Gregory leaves, and Tree decides to investigate herself. She follows blood stains to her room, where she finds Lori already dead, stabbed, and bleeding. Still in a state of shock, Tree feels the killer's presence behind her, but thanks to her reflexes and the ability to react quickly, she turns around and shoots the killer down right in time. But just as she lets her guard down, another baby-faced killer appears from behind her and chokes her by the throat. But insisting on not dying alone, Tree shoots one of the cylinders of flammable gas, making the cylinders blast and killing both of them. Tree wakes up in the loop and informs everyone of all events so far. They finally decode the algorithm for Sissy. Ryan explains that one variant will close the loop with Tree in this dimension, while another will return her to her world. Tree chooses to stay, but the machine fails due to a suspected virus. Frustrated, Tree demands Ryan rewrite the code, which will take hours. Upset, Tree leaves, and Carter follows to confront her about saving others at the hospital. She reveals her struggle between choosing Carter or her mother from her original dimension. Carter advises her to embrace loss as part of growth, offering her a chance to say goodbye. Danielle interrupts them, and Tree leaves after sadly acknowledging Carter's relationship with Danielle. Tree meets her parents, who are waiting on campus for her birthday lunch, and tells them they need to leave campus immediately. Concerned by her exhausted state, they agree without hesitation. As they drive away, Tree's mother tries to comfort her by reminiscing about past memories. However, Tree realizes these are not her memories, but those of the Tree from this dimension. Doubt creeps into her mind about her decisions. Later, her parents decide to spend the night somewhere to rest, as they all need a break. Tree has a heartfelt conversation with her mother at the hotel, addressing doubts about her own behavior. While talking, she notices a news report on TV about a tragic incident at Bayfield Hospital, revealing that a police officer, Nurse Lori, and student Carter were killed. Devastated, Tree tries to call Ryan to stop him from closing the loop, but he doesn't answer. Panicked, she grabs her father's car keys and drives toward the Bayfield power station while repeatedly dialing Ryan, who remains unreachable as he works on fixing the algorithm. In desperation, Tree crashes her car into the transformer at the station, killing herself, but successfully cutting the power just in time. She wakes up again in the same loop, determined that she would stop it this time. Again, she explains to Ryan, Samar, and Dre about everything she had memorized and been through. She asks Ryan how long would it take, and he says that it's going to be quick, but Tree interrupts him, asking for a little more time as she has to do something. Tree goes to meet Lori and apologizes for her behavior. She also asks her to stop the affair with her married professor, as it is not right. Lori agrees and thanks her. Afterward, Tree goes to Danielle to confess her misjudgment, but is interrupted by Nick, who emerges from Danielle's shower. Danielle tries to lie, but fails. Realizing Danielle has been cheating on Carter, she is somewhat relieved. She later joins her parents, who are waiting to celebrate her birthday lunch. She asks her father for a moment alone with her mother, and he agrees and steps away. Struggling to express her emotions, she tells her mother she loves her. Her mother says that she knows it and she loves Tree just as much, which makes her feel comforted and reassured. She returns to the lab and says her goodbyes to Ryan, Samar, Dre, and Carter. Ryan starts Sissy, but just as the process was about to complete, the dean of their department walks in and unplugs the machine and confiscates it. Devastated by this, Tree sits down. Carter says that this is just a setback. She could die again and start over once again. Tree explains to them that she might not come back again as she gets weaker every time she dies, and that she's not sure how many chances she has left. Tree suggests that they could just steal Sissy back. Samar and Dre hesitate on this, but Carter says that if they don't do that, Tree will die, and they agree. They begin to plan the theft. They execute their plan by asking Danielle to act blind to divert Dean Thompson's attention. In the act, she spills a vase, and as Thompson tries to recollect it, she grabs the keys and gives them to Carter and Tree, who are at the door. They unlock the room where Sissy is as Ryan, Dre, and Samar take it back to the lab. Tree and Carter rush to give the keys back to Danielle. Now Sissy is back in the lab. Ryan starts the machine, and Tree asks him how long it might take, as she only has 3 hours. Ryan says that it'll be close. Tree realizes that Lori's about to be killed, so she asks Carter to no matter what, stay there in the lab, and she runs out. She first informs the police officer that there's a killer on the loose and walks out to find Lori. When Lori's about to be killed by the killer in a hospital bed, Tree shoots him down right in time and runs out with Lori. But again, another baby-faced killer appears, and he removes his mask. It's Professor Gregory, who had an affair with Lori. Lori's confused about everything, questions the situation, so Tree explains to her how Gregory's wife had found out about their affair. So he wants to kill Lori, and so he let the criminal free so he could kill her. Gregory smirks, and right that second, his wife shoots Lori in the stomach. While Tree in conflict lets her guard down for just a second, as Gregory sees the chance and tackles her down. Tree defends herself, but is weaker, so Gregory finally takes the gun and points at her. He suddenly changes direction and shoots down his wife, saying that he wanted a divorce. Just as he's about to shoot Tree too, Carter shouts from the corridor, and Gregory is repulsed to shoot him. Getting the chance, Tree gets up and runs away. She gets into the radiotherapy room, and Gregory finds her. She pulls out her screwdriver, but Tree sees the electromagnetic sign and gets the chance to press the button starting it, as Gregory gets stuck to the machine, sandwiched by a wheelchair. Tree then lets go of her screwdriver, and it pierces through his stomach. She turns the machine off and leaves him to die. At the lab, the dean tries to break in, but Samar and Dre stop him at all costs. Tree finds Ryan and kisses him. Ryan finally starts a machine, and it works. Tree finally goes back to her dimension and hugs Carter, knowing that they will finally be together. So this was the recap of the 2019 movie Happy Death Day to you. If you liked the video, please subscribe to the channel and check out our other videos as well.